Good morning, Blue Streaks. Good to see you this morning. It's Monday, April 20th, and we're going to solve some more systems of equations that are a little bit more difficult than last week. Last week's were two equations with two variables. We used substitution and elimination. This week we're going to have three equations with three variables, and we could use substitution and elimination, but we're going to make it real easy for you and just use our graphing calculator. So we're just going to use matrices. So example one here, we have our three equations, x minus 2y plus z equals 7, and 2x plus y minus z equals 0, and 3x plus 2y minus 2z equals -2. So when we do this, we like to line everything up like we did for elimination. All our x's line up, all our y's, all our z's, all our equal signs, and then our constants on the other side of the equal sign. So make sure you do that, have it written in the correct order, and have everything lined up first. Now, if an x or a y or a z does not show up, okay, in that spot, we're going to use the number 0 when we put these into our matrix. Okay, so whenever there is a variable missing, in that spot, put the number 0. Not the number 1, the number 0. And your answer will work out. So basically, this is all calculator work, and it's pretty easy. So make sure you have your graphing calculators. If you don't have one, I will post on today's page in Canvas the download directions if you have never done that. Okay, so let's get started on our first example. All right, so what we do is we look at just the left side. All right, these three equations, and basically what we're going to do is we're going to make an A matrix and a B matrix. Our A matrix will be the left side of the equation. Our B matrix will be the right side. And all we're going to do is use the coefficients. This would be a 1, a -2, and a 1, a 2, a 1, and a -1, a 3, a 2, and a -2. Okay? And then our B matrix will be the 7, 0, and the -2. So we're going to have to put that into our calculator first, and then we'll go from there. And again, make sure everything's lined up first when you do this. So our A matrix will be a 3 by 3 because we have 3 rows and 3 columns. All right, and I already put those in, and I'll show you how to put it in your calculator in a minute. But I just got those numbers from the coefficients, those numbers in front of those variables. And then the B matrix will be a 3 by 1, 3 rows, 1 column, just these numbers here, and I put them here. So that's what they would look like if you're writing it down on your paper. Okay? So I want to go through showing you on the calculator how to do this again. So here's our calculator. You know, I got to turn it on. If you look at this fourth button down on the left side, you got your second, your alpha, your math, and then this X inverse button. Right above it in blue, it says matrix. So we're going to hit second in that X -1 button, and we're going to get this screen. That's getting us into the matrix. All right. Now, in order to put numbers into a matrix, we have to get to the edit part. All right. I just hit the left arrow key once, and it'll highlight edit. And we're just going to use the first two, A and B, always. So A, I'm going to just hit enter, and I'll be able to put my dimensions. Remember, this is 3 rows and 3 columns. So I have to hit 3, enter, 3, enter, and it'll give me 9 spots to put these numbers that I got from these coefficients. So I'm going to hit put 1 and then enter, and it'll go across the rows. Here's your negative sign, -2, enter, and 1, enter, and then 2, enter, 1, enter, and -1, enter, and then the bottom row, 3, enter, 2, enter, and -2, enter. All right, so I've got the A matrix in. Again, got those from the coefficients in my problem. It's a 3 by 3 matrix, and that'll be our A matrix always, the 3 by 3. Okay, now in order to put the B matrix in, I have to get out of the matrix editing for a second. So I go up here and hit second quit, second mode, quits above mode. So I hit second mode, and that gets me out of the matrices, and then I go right back in. So I hit second X inverse for the matrix, left arrow once for edit, and then go down 1 for 2 to do our B matrix. So I'm going to hit enter, and as you can see, it's matrix B, but remember, it's a 3 by 1 now. 3 rows, 1 column. So I have to hit 3 enter, 1 enter, and I have my right dimensions. And then I'm going to put the 7, 0, and -2. So 7, enter, 0, enter, and -2, enter. Okay? So there's my B matrix. So it's been put into my calculator. Okay? So the next step then is we're going to, remember, when you solve for X or Y or Z, you do the opposite, right? You go to the opposite side. So if we were to take the 2y over I to add 2y, or take the z over I subtract z. And instead of saying the opposite, sometimes we say inverse. So we're moving stuff over to solve. All right, so to solve this matrix equation that we just made using matrices, we have to put in our calculator that A inverse B. That means we're moving the A's over to the B's, and we can solve it. Okay, so when we put this into our calculator and hit enter, it'll give us a matrix that's a 3 by 1 like the B, and the top number will be our X value, the middle number will be the Y value, and the bottom number will be the Z value for the answer to our problem. Okay, so we're going to go back into our calculator to get this to show up. Okay, so I'm going back to my calculator. I'm going to get out of there again. So I'm out of the matrix mode right now. And then I go right back in. Second matrix, which is X -1 button. All right, now, I don't do any editing. I already did that. I'm just going to hit enter for the A matrix to show up. Okay, now remember, we have to have that -1, that inverse. So now we just hit the inverse button. Not the second, like we did to get in the matrix, just that button. There's my inverse, okay? Then I go back into matrix, second matrix, and then I highlight the 2, or just hit the number 2. I'm just gonna hit the number 2, and there's my A inverse B. So now when I hit enter, it's gonna give me a 3 by 1 matrix that'll be the answer to this problem. And then we'll have it solved. All right, so our answer is 2 for X, -1 for Y, and 3 for Z. So if I were to substitute those numbers into each equation, in the top one I'd get a 7, in the middle one I'd get a 0, and in the bottom one I'd get -2. It works. Those 3 numbers work in all 3 equations. We just solved that system of equations, 3 equations with 3 variables using matrices. So basically it's all calculator work. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do a second example just to go through it again. All right, so I have to put 1, 2, -1 in for the top row, 2, -1, and 1 for the middle row, and 2, -1, -1 for the bottom row. Remember, if an X or a Y or a Z is missing, you're going to put a 0 in that spot into your matrix. Okay, and then our B matrix is the 1, 6, and a 0. Okay, and then I'm going to do A inverse B, and I'll be done. So again, it's just calculator work, right? Makes this really easy when you have this graphing calculator. Okay, all right. So I'm going to do that. So I have to go second matrix, left arrow for edit. I'm going to have to move it over here and hit enter. And it gives me a 3 by 3 again. And I just hit enter twice and I'll get to the top row. So it's 1, which I already got. So just hit enter. And then positive 2. So I just hit 2, enter. And then negative 1, enter. And my middle row is 2, negative 1, and 1. And then the bottom row, 2, negative 1, and negative 1. All right, so check, make sure you have that correct. And then get out of there, second mode to get out of there. And then to go back in, second matrix, edit, don't forget edit, and then 2 for B, 3 by 1 the same. Now I put 1 and 6 and 0, and then I get out of there. Now, since the last thing I actually did on this screen was hit A inverse B, if I hit second enter, it'll put that back in for me. I won't have to punch it in, and then hit enter, and it'll give me the new answer. This one is 2, 1, and 3. All right. So 2 for X, 1 for Y, and 3 for Z. So again, that's my answer here. Okay. If I go up here, this is my answer for that one. 2, negative 1, 3. All right, so again, just using your graphing calculator to solve a system of equations using your matrices, okay? So hopefully that'll be pretty easy for you. Easy day. Here's your assignment, page 813, 1 to 6 all. It's due tomorrow, the 21st. I will have a picture of that posted out of your book. In Canvas. Again, I'll post how to download the graphing calculator into your onto your laptop if you don't have one. Hopefully you guys are, again, staying healthy and safe. It sounds like, yesterday they were talking about maybe starting to open up things. So hopefully by May 4th, I'll get to see you in class. But I don't know if that will happen, but I hope you guys, again, are doing well. Thank you for doing your work. You guys did really well on your quiz last week. Keep up the good work. Have a great day. And go Blue Streaks.